I think recording has been started. So I think now we should start the session. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth session of our placement series brought to you by Sundarban's House in collaboration with SPC. Today we have a very special guest. Today we have a very special guest, Nidhi Patel ma'am. She is currently a cloud architect at Google. Before that, she has worked in HSBC as well as in IBM. So today she will sharing insights on cloud computing, how you can master the cloud computing, and what are the opportunities you have in the area of cloud computing with her extensive experience in the field of cloud computing. And the end of the part of the session, there is a question answer part. In part of the session, we have a question answer. So if you have any doubt, if you have any question, then we will discuss all this thing in the last part of the session. So without the further ado, let's welcome to the Nidhi Patel ma'am to the session. Let's give a round of applause for Nidhi Patel ma'am and welcome ma'am to the our first session on cloud computing.
Hey Abhishek, thank you, and happy to do this session. Hope any information I give would be helpful for you all, and probably I'm all for cloud, so might get you all motivated to take the route of cloud computing. So having said that, just want to give a sorry. Just want to give a disclaimer before I begin. So I'm presenting this session in a personal capacity, and I'm not representing Google currently. All the views or information I'll be sharing would be like my personal opinion and my personal views on this matter. Okay. So so when I think Abhishek approached me for this session, I was thinking, since in this internet era where everything is really accessible, you have YouTube, we have Udemy, you have Coursera, you have LinkedIn Learning, and many other learning platforms. Apart from that, now we have Gemini, ChatGPT, right? So I don't want to spend a lot of time explaining you what cloud computing is, because there might be like extensive courses available already on all the learning platforms. You can go there and enroll. Similarly, in YouTube, you'll be able to find a lot of content. But here, I just want to give you an overview of cloud computing, share my journey on how I joined and how I got interested in cloud. And then one bit which helped me was getting to understand what all roles are present out there. So I'll just walk you through the roles that we have in cloud computing. So, you can pick and choose what do you want to do once you are out in the industry. And I've kept a lot of time for Q&As. So hopefully I'm expecting a lot of questions. So, and anytime if you have any question, just feel free to raise your hand and we can discuss.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Okay then. Probably I have created some sample slides for you all. It's just one-liner, just to keep a track of what we are going through. But before I do that, I'll just quickly share my journey. So I graduated in 2019 from LA College of Engineering, and then I got placed in HSBC as a software engineer. That's where I got my first experience with cloud. I was part of security team, and all our applications were on-prem. Now, and we have cloud wave going on, and even when I graduated, the cloud wave was on. So our team was exploring ways to move our entire application, which hosts like around 5 million users, to cloud. And that's where I was part of the core team, and I was responsible for migrating all of our applications to the cloud. So This was great in two ways. I got to learn cloud, and second, to understand our applications end to end. What I like the most about my current role is also that I get to see the end view of the entire application, what's going on, versus just developing, like, let's say, one feature. Yeah, so that's when I figured out this is something I am interested in and I want to pursue. So to gain more experience, I joined IBM Labs, where we were building a multi-cloud, multi-management platform for enterprises. So you don't need to go to individual platforms, say AWS, GCP, individual consoles, but you have a central view of all your multi-cloud platforms. So yeah, there I was working on a very interesting, complex topology problem, and got to build it from scratch. So yeah, that was again a really good experience. And then a Google recruiter reached out to me for this role, and yeah, here I am. 2 years in, helping enterprises move to Google Cloud. Yeah, so today my job is to look at the customer architecture, if they're on-prem or any other cloud, and help them understand how then they can make their architecture better with GCP, and also with its implementation.
Okay, ma'am.
So
I have a several question, ma'am, regarding your. You just complete your entire. It's like you just pass out from your college and direct into the. It's just there is a, some pattern. You have work hard for maybe how did you prepare for HSBC, then how you shift to and switch to in IBM, then Google. It takes time. It takes effort, which is very important. I think it will inspire us to all the people who joined today's meet. So can we discuss about how did you secure your first job in HSBC as a cloud engineer? How did you
yeah,
prepare and for maybe for coding rounds for your interviews round, and what the platform use so that other members can also maybe think like that?
yeah, sure. So again, I'm not sponsoring any platform here, but yeah,
Okay.
lead code was the way to go. So even in my college, at least from I think third, fourth year, you start prepping for your placements, right? So that's when I started doing some internships for web development, and apart from that, I started coding. So competitive coding, and then HSBC actually was the first company. So it was surprising because we were not expecting HSBC to be the first company to come in for college placements. I was hoping that I could do 1-2 mocks in some other companies, because that was my company I wanted to go to. But yeah, I had a lot of help, and even during that time, mostly it was YouTube, so system designs, lead code, and I think even doing internship helped me, because in college they don't expect you to have a lot of like certifications or extensive experience or extensive knowledge into like one particular field, but they just want to see how, like, in the internships, if you have done what you claimed to have done. Apart from that, if you have done some side projects, the final year project. So yeah, we also won second prize in our like entire department for our final year project. So there are some of the bits that helped me create my resume. And then other thing, very important, communication skills. So even if you are great at coding, but if you're not able to speak or able to tell the recruiter the problem statement or explain it, then that's a problem. So yeah, communication skill is a very important thing to work towards as well.
So I think in a college time, due to your other activities, maybe extracurricular activities, helped you a lot in maybe in communication, because a lot of student faces communication issues, especially when they enter in the college. Then some students is kind of introvert and all, right? So
Yeah,
what
no kidding. So I'm
helped you?
also an introvert. I'm still an introvert, I'd say, but then I love doing extracurricular activities. So all the tech fest, anything, I was there. I mean, I was always interested in doing event managements and stuff.
So that phase of that build your actually communication skill in really good manner. So then you joined ma'am HSBC, and then what happened after that?
Yes.
Once you joined, how
So
many years you worked there?
in HSBC, I was there for around 2 years, and there I was working on mainly developing Java applications. So what our team was doing was the security team. So we maintained the authentication authorization of retail banking customers. So it was a huge customer base, and this was a very critical application which I was part of. So yeah, developing features, and that's when I wanted to try something out, and that's when I got to do a POC for one of our encryption algorithms. So I did it, and then I got moved to our core team, cloud, and yeah, that's when one thing coming into IT industry is. You have to upskill like really fast, and technology changes really fast. So one day you are in project A working on something, second day you are in project B working on something. So upskilling and technical aptitude are the two things you need to develop and be ready for.
So it's not like that. I have good maybe ranking in. I have good command in database, or we have good command in data structure. Then I am okay. I can do any job. It's not like that. You have to adopt this situation according to whatever challenges you will face, and maybe you should ready for all these changes, whatever is coming in every days, because
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, you start with, let's say, you have extensive expertise in database, but then that is one part of the job. That's not how enterprises run, right? So you also need to understand in and around of DB. So need to go deep into applications as well, middleware, sometimes front end, not extensively, but yes, that too.
then you switch to IBM. What was the journey, ma'am? Then, how did it happen? What was the plan? Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
into that.
so um, I mean, in HSBC, I had a really good experience. We almost completed our deployment to cloud. So our on-prem application, the deployment is complete, and then I felt that I need to learn something more. I mean, and that's when I started again prepping for interviews, lead code, system designs, and yeah, that's where I uh, got placed in IBM. In IBM, also, I was very clear in interviews that I wanted to learn something, and I wanted to be part of something where I get to see everything working end to end. So this was the team where they were creating a brand new feature called topology. So it was not available yet. And so I was there from like day zero, trying to understand the problem statement, trying to come up with various solutions, which technology we should be using, why we should be using this technology, and then building it and then finally releasing it.
So you worked for how many years in IBM?
IBM was sort of short journey, but yeah, it was. We released this feature really fast, so approximately around like 1 year. And I was not planning to leave IBM, frankly, but then Google, a recruiter from Google reached out to me. I was like, why not? Let me try this. So yeah, then I started prepping for Google interviews again. System design, lead code, same. uh,
You went in your first year, sorry, in final year journey where you are preparing for HSBC or any other placement job. You were coding on a lead code and all. The same thing happened in also when you preparing for Google also.
yes, but in Google, it since I knew this was a specific role, which was for a cloud engineer, and I had to know about migrations and containerization, troubleshooting, So this role was specific to, helping customers move to GCP. So yeah, correct. Every stage, DSA is always going to be there. So even today, if I do some coding for customers, but I don't do extensive coding. It's more architecting. Even then, I think even tomorrow, if I need to switch to a different job or position, lead code again. So, but yeah. Anyways, I was saying this time I had to focus more on system design because for this specific role, system design had more weightage than the coding. So it actually, yeah, it depends on the role. And yeah, DSA, no, if you're in a technical role, DSA is not going anywhere. You'll have to be consistent. You'll have to keep doing something or the other.
No matter which position right now you are, if you want to change, if you want to upscale, so DS it's the most important thing.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so it's a really interesting. I have a lot of insights to gain from here. So let's go to the topic because a lot of people waiting for the main part, that's cloud computing and all. Then later on, after the your discussion, we will go in this topic. So let's go to the.
Sure. Let me share my screen. And I see some questions. Probably we can do questions
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
the end, or
As you wish, ma'am, as you wish. But agar if we will take a question between the session, it might be go long, so long.
okay, cool. Let me just finish with the introduction of cloud computing, and then we'll
Yeah,
come
sure.
back to questions because that's what I wanted to focus more on. This the cloud computing and whatever I'm about to say, you'll anyways be able to find it in any of the LinkedIn platform, learning platforms. So yeah, so and again, I wanted to keep this session very interactive. So please feel free to unmute yourself. And yeah, I wanted to start with what is cloud computing. So before giving an intro, I want to understand how many of you know about cloud. And maybe a hands up or thumbs up, something.
You can give thumbs up.
Yeah, so not surprising at all because cloud is very famous nowadays. So everyone might have used cloud as well. Okay. Uh, so now that so many of you know cloud computing, there's no point in me telling you what cloud computing is, right? So maybe one of you just talk about what do you think is cloud computing?
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Cloud computing is just someone else's computer somewhere else across the world, which you can rent and use as your own. But then you do not have to care about maintenance or changing technology or the hard disk kind of going bad. So all that tension is somebody else's, and you can just focus on your software.
Yeah, that sounds right. And anyone else who wants to give it a go?
Hello. Yeah, in cloud computing, there is also some features like we can upskills the hardware requirement very easily, and do not have to care about its physical maintenance or security. It will be taken care by the organization.
Okay, easy scaling and security.
The cloud computing is a platform on which we can use hardware or software resources and using it by and pay for it as per use.
Uh, sorry, can you say that again?
Cloud computing is a platform on which we can uh, access resources, hardware or software, and pay for that.
Yeah, that's true. Anyone else?
Okay, I'll hi, this is Biplav here. I'll add a couple of more features to that. So basically, it is kind of a storage we can think and computing resources, whatever we need based on our demand. And we can also configure like the number of CPUs and the storage, RAM, whatever we need, the computing capability. And then we bring in the services on demand. We can keep it till the time we want. We can set up the scheduling over the night time when it is not in use, only for the non-pod environment. For pod environment, we can again schedule it based on the need if we need to. And the access can be given on the need basis. Basically, the different user roles who should have access to what kind of data, all these things can be done in cloud.
Like
That's
electricity is generated in power plants, in cloud computing we generate the compute in big data centers and make available worldwide, so anyone can use from his laptop and he can select the machine according to requirements and then use that. And it is a really cost optimized platform, so it is really good and really fast.
yeah, interesting analogy. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Yeah, I see a couple of hands. So yeah, please, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So according to me, like I know that it's a platform where the servers are which are physically somewhere else, but you can access the storage of it digitally for the uh, cloud, and it's like a service based. So there's a platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and there was one more. I'm not remembering that.
Yeah, you covered the three main. I was going to go there, but yeah, that's correct. Okay. I think, yeah, all of you know. Yeah, Ravindra.
Yeah, hi Nidhi. So recently I had an interview regarding this. So and this the interviewer basically challenged, or you can say uh, inquired what is cloud computing, and he you can say said that computing is not a technology. So I have to improvise it to, you can say, like Indian Post Office. What it does that it transfers the mail from the sender to receiver. So I improvise the answer according to this, like that it does transfers your storage, you can say, data to you can say it is a delivery system. Cloud computing is a delivery system instead of technology. So I was on a right track, or you can say pretty wrong or right. Please guide me. Thank you.
Um, I mean, in my opinion, um, cloud computing is not something which is new, right? We are deploying these same, like we are doing the same things what we are doing earlier. It's just that someone else is doing that for us.
Yeah, that's what I improvised basically. Just the service vendors, the cloud service vendors are just providing the delivery system, just same as the, you can say, post office. Just they sends your data, you can say, mail from the sender to receiver. And I just quickly, you can say, use this analogy in this particular question.
Awesome, that's great. Uh, yeah, very interesting answers. And of course, you all know. So, yes, the cloud refers to servers that are accessed over the internet and the software and database that run on those servers. Cloud servers are located in data centers across the world. So, scaling is not a problem. Reaching to XYZ location at a given point in time is not a problem. All of this is managed by large organizations, so you don't have the headache of maintenance. So we probably all of you covered all of these. So yes, that's correct, that is what is cloud computing. And maybe most of you covered the examples for infrastructure as service, which is like Compute Engine or EC2 from AWS, which is you spin up VMs and you run your applications on top of it. right? Apart from that, we also have platform as a service, software as a service, container as a service. And nowadays, there are many more, like function as a service. So when I say platform as a service, something like, I don't know if you're familiar with Cloud Run, but what Cloud Run enables you to do is you don't need to now have the headache of actually spinning up a VM. You just write your code, create a zip file, and just deploy it. It'll take care of scaling and everything on your behalf, right? After that, we have software as a service. So one example could be Google Workspace. Gmail is software as a service, right? And then we have container as a service. So that could be GKE or any other managed Kubernetes platforms. And nowadays, very famous, we have functions as a service. So it's more like a quick function or spin up if you want to do. So for example, you just need to run something for 5 minutes. In that case, you spin up a cloud function or a Lambda in AWS, where you just need to write your code, you run it, and it'll take care of, even if you want, even if you want to scale, it'll take care of everything.
And
So
this, sorry to interrupt, this last one you are mentioning, is it something like a Google Colab we can correlate to? Like if we have to execute something, we instantly use that, or is it something different?
no, Google Colab is different from Cloud Functions. In Colab, you actually write code, and I think in the backend it spin ups a VM for you, which you can actually see in your instances as well. Cloud Functions is more managed, so you call it serverless, right? Serverless technology. That's what a cloud function is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now that we know what is cloud computing, the next slide I had was why and when to use cloud. So maybe I'll just note. So I think I got some pretty interesting answers in last time on why as well. But this time around, I'll just keep noting what all points are covered, and then maybe if something it's not already covered, which I have in my list, I can just explain that. Sounds good? Okay. Uh, I okay. Thanks for the thumbs up. And okay, so let's start with why cloud or when to use cloud. Anyone who wants to go? It could be same. You
Once
can just
more.
give like two.
Whatever we told earlier, I think it is more on the infra side that we need to have less resources. We can get so one thing is that initial costing on the hardware that can be reduced. So it is a kind of rent based uses based on the uses, and
So
and if
cost efficient, and you are saying low resources. So what do you really mean by low
I
resources?
mean to say the cost of ownership is very less. There is no cost is incurring when you want to procure or want to start using the hardware resources. That is one thing. We can also depend on the third party companies for the maintenance of the platform and services, and it is pretty much scalable. And as I mentioned earlier, it can be scheduled when not in use. And only one concern I see, and mainly for the banking and data part, the many of the because I work in a bank, and none of the production application are ever deployed in production. I mean, in the cloud. So that is a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you covered cost efficient. Yes, cloud is cost efficient when because you don't have to procure all the hardware in GBs and GBs. Second is maintenance. So cloud providers do the maintenance for you. So you don't have to hire a separate team to maintain your infrastructure. Third is scale, which is very important because let's say your application, you I don't know, it got famous overnight. And like today you have 5,000 users and tomorrow you have 1 lakh users. Now, how do you scale from 5,000 to 1 lakh in overnight? That's where cloud is very, very useful. And third is on demand. So let's say if you want to do a quick experiment or schedule jobs, all of these you run on the cloud. It's on demand, and you pay as you go is one of the feature where you just pay for what you use. So if there's an on-demand job running for 5 minutes, you just pay for those 5 minutes. Apart from that, you don't need to pay anything. So it'll take care of running that on-demand every 5 minutes for you, right? All the maintenance is the headache for of the cloud providers, but then you only pay for those 5 minutes that your job is actually running on for. Okay, so I see we have covered cost efficient maintenance, scale, pay as you go as well. Okay, anyone else? I see some comments, and actually it'll
Computing
be
is the
easy.
best option for startups who have limited capital.
Correct. Limited capital, because you don't want to upfront invest so much in the infrastructure when you don't know the scale. So it's better to use a cloud provider, understand the scale, and then go from there. Okay. Anyone else? I'm just look. Okay. If there's no one, then I'll just continue. So I'll just look at what the points that I had. One, some of that we already covered. One thing I had in my list was deployment. So cloud makes it very easy for you to deploy, and there are so many options to choose from. So based on your use case, you can easily deploy your applications on cloud. Other is multiple regions, so it is globally scalable. You might have heard about edge networks, right? So if I'm today I'm sitting in India and my application is global and there are US customers. Now I don't want my server to be in India because that will increase the latency for the US customers. So I want a server that is in US for the US customers. So rather than investing a lot of money and resources in buying servers for different regions for your global application, you can just use cloud. Third is built-in security best practices. That is the cloud providers today are the major giant techs. They already have understood the scale. They are delivering it on scale, right? So we don't really need to, from basic infrastructure and security perspective, we don't need to worry because they already have delivered at scale. And if we are on cloud, we don't need to care about how we'll be able to secure this infrastructure or scale this infrastructure, because those who have already done this multiple times are doing it for us. Then encryption. So there are multiple encryptions at rest, encryption while transmission. So all of these additional features are provided by cloud, which is again creating and developing this app processes versus using this. Again, it's lower cost plus better security, better algorithms, and less latency. Other is, of course, reliable, because we have such good organizations providing us the cloud benefits. Other, it might be related to legal approvals as well. So there are two things, right? One is, as Biswas said, I think earlier, that if you're in banking, there are certain compliance reasons that you cannot put your data in cloud. You need some of the data to stay in-house on-prem. But if you don't have any such requirements, and so one example I would like to give is for the healthcare data. So I work with a lot of healthcare customers. And for healthcare data, there is something called as HIPAA compliance. So now if I'm using my own data centers, I need to make sure that my infrastructure is HIPAA compliant versus GCP is already HIPAA compliant. So I can directly use GCP services. So it's a use case basis thing, but then it could help you with your compliance practices as well. If if it falls under that compliance which the cloud provider already has. So if you just Google it, you'll know that all the cloud providers, they have multiple certifications they've already done, and they are like multiple places compliant. Yeah, that's all I had on why and when to use cloud. Is there anything you all would like to add, or maybe anything I missed? Okay, moving on. Road to cloud. So basically, how can you get started to cloud? But I think I don't need to really do this slide because all of you are mostly well known with cloud. I saw some comments, someone had already um, some I don't know, it's gone, but then someone already did spin up some of the VMs, right? So you already know road to
That
cloud.
was on DigitalOcean, right? So that's like plug and play. It's
Okay,
still scary on Google Cloud and AWS. Okay.
I see. Okay, cool. Yeah, so, and that's the most important bit. Actually, way to cloud is hands-on, but before we do hands-on, how do we understand what the cloud is? So for that, we have like so many learning platforms. You can just go and
Also, one request: can Google Cloud have something like a proper rate limit kind of situation in which we do not give our credit cards if we are a student, maybe like the GitHub student developer pack or something, so that we can actually experiment without wondering if we have that kind of like, situation which Vercel usually ends up having. Like people are charged 100K for a botnet attack or like denial of service attack, which they had no fault in. Right? So it gets a bit scary when you are attaching a credit card just to test or learn something.
I see. Yeah, I'll again. I'm here for like from my for this session on for my like on my personal time, but I can probably talk to some of the teams. I don't know which team would be looking after this, but yeah, I can take this back. This is a interesting problem. I'll check what we can do.
I sorry to interrupt. I have a solution there. Like here in IIT Madras, they're kind of offering some courses, NPTEL courses, and there they're offering the cloud courses in kind of 500, 600 rupees. There we get access to the cloud. I mean the practice cloud environment where we can practice if you enroll for these courses. Just a
Okay,
suggestion. Okay?
NPTEL course on Google Cloud. Can you share the link of something of
No,
that?
no,
I
you
will.
you have to keep observing that it will be coming as a mail in the
Okay, okay,
student mail
okay.
ID. You will get that. Yeah, thanks.
In fact, one suggestion, you guys can go on Microsoft Azure website. Okay, you can create your portal, you can create your account, then you can do the free, practice also. They provide free lab environment, and once you complete the training, you will get the free voucher to complete your training. I mean, for certification actually. So that's just an idea for you.
Okay, so let's come to the topic.
Thank you for
Before that,
thank you for introducing competition. Google will work on it surely.
As far as I know, we have like multiple code labs and trainings which provide, which gives you GCP instance for some time when there's a hands-on lab. But I'm not sure if it's free or you require credits. But yeah, those are definitely available, so you can check that out. And yeah, a lot of your classmates already gave a really interesting solution. So yeah, you can do that too.
Just a doubt, why you are so specific about Google Cloud? You want to practice there only, is it?
No, no,
Or
it's
Let's
up to you.
complete the topic.
You
Let's
can.
We are
complete the
talking.
topic. We
This
will
is a
complete.
session by somebody from Google, right? So I would obviously request anything I want to request.
okay.
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am. We will
Yeah,
come
I'm
back.
just more familiar with Google Labs and everything, so I just gave that as an example. But it's up to you. You can use Azure, AWS for that matter, because ultimately, which is what I was going to say, that one of the main things you can do for understanding all of the cloud and cloud services is do a certification. And that's how I learned so that's how my cloud journey started. Actually, I did AWS architect associate and then AWS developer certification. And those certifications are good because they show you the best practices. So in what cases you should use what services, and in what cases you should not use which of the services. So it gives you a holistic view of all the services there are for any cloud providers, and then they walk you through when to use which service, so that you are aware that if you have this specific use case, you should spin up a VM versus a cloud run, for example. So yeah, Road to Cloud 1, you have lots of free materials on YouTube, Udemy, Coursera. You go through that. Second, certification, it can help in two ways. Then only prepping for certification for your benefit, you can do that. But if you also get certified, you can add that in your resume, and that would give the recruiters the confidence that you actually know about cloud. So that is second. Third would be read documentations. All of the cloud providers, they have really good documentations, how to get started, and then they also have white papers. So if you have time and if you have interest, you can pick one of the path and start exploring, going deep into that path. And again, cloud is a maze. There are so many services. So it is very important that you have if you have a specific path in your mind, like for example, you want to pick a developer path, just pick all the services that are related to developer path and just go deep. Do hands on is pretty important, because you won't even after going through the documentations, reading white papers, you won't have that confidence unless you actually do those things yourselves. So there are, as I said, code labs available. There are trainings available. Now, I don't know whether it's paid or not paid. So that would be a different discussion. But yeah, you can definitely go through those are really helpful.
Ma'am, can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So, as a data scientist perspective, I mean, so how much the cloud training is important, ma'am, as part of, like you say, development thing? Because as what I understood from the cloud thing, so it's kind of understanding the services like database services like that. There are many Kubernetes are there, so deployment, kind of a DevOps kind of thing. So it's a kind of a infra kind of tool. So in terms of data scientist or AI engineer, so how much they are useful? So how much we should explore these services, ma'am?
Right. So for data engineers, data scientists, there are specific services related to data. So again, giving example for GCP because I'm aware of GCP services, but same services you'll be able to find at AWS Azure as well. So one example is data flow. To stream your data from let's say, Postgres or a MySQL DB into GCP. So this is something a data engineer would do. That is one example. Um, Other is we have managed MySQL DB, we have Spanner. So there are so many DBs available in cloud. Apart from that, we have pipelines and ETL jobs, which are specific to cloud providers, which you would like to understand because they have their uh, specifications. For example, MySQL, it could be regional or multi-regional. Now, what about the backups and all of those things? You'll be able to learn once you actually read about those. Again, the basics would remain same. Just at the infra level, it would be different based on provider to provider.
Nidhi, if I may ask something more to this,
Yeah,
for an entry level career, more into the data engineers, they need to have a better grip in the infra side, like how the data is coming, how the data is going, and clean up, and other kind of data processing is happening in the data. But for senior role, someone who is working as a data architect or very senior data scientist, they will need to know the entire picture of it. It is
correct.
expected, like if you are good in something and you don't know how in the pipeline the data is going through the stages, it will not help.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Correct.
Nidhi ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Nidhi ma'am, for example, if I'm practicing cloud in some other platform like Azure, for example, so is it mandatory for us to learn GCP to get an opportunity in your organization, or like we can practice from other platform and we can make a transition to your organization? And second thing, like for example, if we are applying for a data engineer role, then how we can get an opportunity in your organization? These are the two questions, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah, question one. Answer to your first question is it does not matter which cloud you are using in your previous jobs or earlier because the name of the services might change. And as I said, some of the specifications around the services might change, but the concepts they remain same. So
Okay,
it
ma'am.
won't matter if you are using AWS and then if you want to move to GCP, you just need to transition and understand the parallel for AWS and GCP.
Okay, clear now. And second, ma'am, that if we are like making a transition from data warehouse to data engineer, then how we can get an opportunity in your organization?
For that, I think you'll have to talk to a recruiter.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Any roadmap would you like to guide for data engineer role?
For data engineer roles, so again, I know a lot of GCP services. So what I know that for a data engineer role, what Google focuses on would be you understand data flow, you understand data proc, you understand BigQuery, you know about Spanner, you know about MySQL, SQL DBs, NoSQL DBs, document DBs.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
basically the core concepts. Um, and yeah, not really the services per se, but you should be good with the core concepts related to the uh, data schema design or uh, DB designs.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Hello,
Ma'am,
good
is
evening,
there
ma'am.
any coding code?
Hello,
Yeah.
ma'am. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. By the way, just have 1 minute left. But yeah, maybe we can continue with your questions. Sure.
Yeah, ma'am. I just wanted to ask me. Actually, I am doing this course. I am 52 years of age. I have been working in telecom industry, right? So at this stage, if I want to switch to this data science and cloud computing, is there any, opportunities there, or how can I do that?
Yeah, I think. There are plenty of opportunities because day and day the data is growing, right?
Right.
And in future, it's not going to happen that we have less data, we'll have more and more data. So unmeshing the data and all of that would still be a problem statement. How do you do that efficiently will still be a problem statement. So you can always, if you feel you are interested in data scientist or data engineer role, maybe you get maybe I mean you can do a part-time degree or some certifications related to data science, and then um, try to start applying for data engineer roles.
Okay, ma'am. What did you say the name of that certification?
For data engineer, at least from the GCP certification I know is a professional data engineer.
Okay. This,
Yeah,
that is from Google, right?
that is from Google. You'll have similar certifications from AWS and Azure as well. I'm sure.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you give your email ID?
Hmm.
Uh, if you have any questions, you can ask here. But yeah, sure. Maybe I'll share my email ID after this call to Abhishek, right? Yeah, and maybe I'll also share the slides.
Okay,
So
ma'am. So I
there's
think we
nothing
should.
much, but you can go
I
through it.
think
Yeah.
I think we should cover this entire topic, whatever slides you have made it, and after that we will go to the maybe question answer session because it's already time. It's over, right?
Yeah, so
Cover
current
the entire.
cloud, we discussed a lot of things. So I just wanted to share some of the roles which I have seen. These are like specific to Google, but then with some variation, these roles will be available at most of the organizations. So one is cloud engineer. In cloud engineer, now you have specific specialization. So let's say if you're a software engineer and you want to be more cloud native, you can be a cloud development cloud engineer. Similarly, we have data cloud engineer, specifically for those taking care of the customer data. Others we have is infrastructure cloud engineer. So that is more of ISC like Terraform or CI/CD pipelines. Then we have AI engineers as well. So those folks would be really doing the model training based on the use cases or providing some other AI specific help to the customers. Third is application modernization. So today, if someone wants to move from on-prem to cloud, most of the organizations have monolith applications. And if you move to cloud, this would be an entire different session for monolithic versus microservices. But microservice architecture is a much better architecture for organizations working at big scale. So application modernization is basically helping the enterprise organizations to change their application from monolith to microservices. Then we have cloud architect role, which is look at the customer architecture, look at how we can optimize that architecture, make it faster, or if there's a bottleneck, remove some of the bottlenecks using some of the services and provide them with better alternatives. And then we also have sales role. So we have cloud sales. So even in sales, we have folks who are mastering one or two specific GCP services. So let's say BigQuery sales, there'll be a specific person who understands BigQuery in detail. So they can go to the customers and they can understand their problem statement and they can help them out. And then customer engineer, so we have sales and then we have customer engineer along with the sales. So customer engineers are a little bit more technical. So if you have to create an architecture, a customer engineer can create like level 1 architecture, and then it can go to cloud architect or cloud engineers to actually refine and implement it. We also have technical account managers who take care of the, for a specific customer, you take care of all their technical needs. So if they are facing any issues with XYZ applications, you have to be there, you have to help troubleshoot. If you're not able to help them troubleshoot, find in proper SME who will be helping them. And apart from that, we have some of these specialists. These are some of the ones I've noted, but if you go to actual career site, you might see some more. We have security specialists who actually helps the organizations understand their security requirements and help them make their security even better. Then we have network specialists who understand the networking for the enterprise applications, and if they are moving to GCP, how will their new network look like? And then we have cloud consultants who again are who have specializations in each of these fields. So you pick one specializations, you go deep into it, and then you help other organizations using that skill move to cloud, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this you'll be able to find in the documentations, GCP documentations as well. So I'll just skip through this, and there are some useful links. I'll share this deck. You can go through it, and yeah, I think we covered a lot of questions. But yeah, just
Yeah.
in the
Thank
interest of time, this is it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for delivering the session and taking all questions whatever participants had asked. So if you have any question, one or two questions, you can raise your hand because time is over. If you have one or two questions, you can raise your hand and you can unmute yourself and ask.
Maybe 3 more minutes.
Okay, okay, okay. No, ma'am. You can take it. Yes, Raj. Yeah, please unmute yourself. Manu, can you allow the participant to unmute them?
Oh, yeah, sure. Give me a second.
Okay, please.
Guys, just wait a second. Yeah, now you can unmute yourself.
Yes, Raj. Please unmute yourself.
Hello,
Ask.
ma'am.
Hello.
This year I'm going to join the college for BTech first year. Any tips for the freshers?
For freshers, I think you should focus on understanding the core concepts, because that is very important. You can, start exploring cloud in parallel, but then um, I think in your curriculum, you'll already have the, basic concepts which your organization will cover. And it's really important that you go through them, you understand those, and then maybe try to relate those when you try to experiment with cloud.
And tips for GSOCs, Google Code of Summer.
Uh, I don't specifically have any tips, but yeah, I think you'll find ample of tips online. So, but yeah, if you don't find it, feel free to reach out. I'll see what I can help.
How can I
Okay,
reach out
so
to you?
yes. Just one, like, there are a
Other
lot of
members, we
people, right?
have only
Um,
one
Okay,
more minute,
so
so if
one
other one
person, one question will be like fine, right? Because a lot of people might have some questions to ask, and ma'am have like has a limited time. Okay, so be specific to whatever you are going to ask, and one question at a time. That would be great, actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
How
Thanks,
can
Manu.
I
Sorry,
how
what we
can I
can do is, looking at the time, what we can do is, probably you can share all of your questions with Abhishek. And you can, accumulate all the questions and maybe share it to me. I look at them offline and I'll reply back. Does that work? Because I don't think we'll be able to go through all of the questions in like 1 minute.
lot of questions we have. So okay, so I think now we should wrap up this today's session because time is over. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us on cloud computing. And to all participants, thank you for joining today's evening. Remember, the path of success begin with determination and thirst of knowledge. Keep strive towards your goal, and who knows, we might see some of you achieving remarkable success in your academics and professional journey. Once again, a big thank you for Mrs. Nidhi Patel, ma'am, and thank you all for being here. See you in next session. Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Ma'am,
Bye
how
bye.
can I reach out to you?
You can
Yeah,
I will
you can reach
you
out to
have to
Abhishek and with your
I will ask
questions.
question to the ma'am.
Okay then. Yeah. Bye bye
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Who is Abhishek here?
Okay, so just give me a minute, right? Whoever want to like, they were asking, whoever asking about ma'am's LinkedIn account, like LinkedIn ID and all, please like follow us on our socials, right? We upload everything there, right? Like this LinkedIn profiles and
If
how
you
you
follow
can.
the Sundaravans pages, you will get all the information we
So can
have.
we discuss some guidelines to our freshers how to ask questions in meets
Exactly,
and
exactly. That's what the point I was thinking. You are asking
Actually,
anything, and it's really unprofessional to ask about how can I get your email number. This is really unprofessional things, right? So
and
please,
you and Yes was asking for how to tips on first year. So the session was on cloud computing. So you have to be specific. You have to ask questions related to that domain or that career path.
so just focus on the session. What's the topic of the session, and don't try to deviate from the session because the speaker is specialized in a particular field. If you try to ask the random question which is not related to their field, it will create a problem for us also. For maybe a speaker feel also discomfortable just because of your question. So please take care in not just for a Sundarman's session, any sessions are going in IITM or anywhere else. Please take care, ask a question related to the topics, whatever is going on, rather than asking how I can get your mobile number, how can I get your email ID, or how can, what's your salary. Please avoid these type of questions because I have seen a lot of time people are asking how can I get your email, how, what's your package. It's a not good question. If you want really enthusiastic to know about the package, go to Google and search. There is various website, Glassdoor and all. You can figure out. So if you have any doubts,
I
so
was
guys, you,
requested.
because
Yes,
it
continue.
makes uncomfortable to the speaker, guys, because I don't know, means speaker is not comfortable to sharing this email. No one wants to share their email or maybe but in a public place, right? It's not good to ask such kind of question. You are saying first year of student and how you can prepare for this or what they can guide you. I know it's everyone have this kind of doubt in when I enter in my first year. This kind of doubt was, but be clear ki what is the topic of the session. According to that, ask your question.
Guys, you don't know how much effort goes in organizing such sessions. Abhishek,
Right?
Manu, these guys know
Last
how
3 months
they
we are
reach out,
working on this thing, right?
how they
We have,
manage all of these things. So please respect those things and be specific to the topics.
you might the speaker is coming, but it takes a lot of time to convince them to reach out to multiple speakers. It's not easy to get their email ID, right? I have put a lot of efforts to reach out to call to my friends. Maybe my first connection, they reach out to second and third. Take a lot of time, and they are if giving their 1 hour, then ask a question which actually relevant to the topics and which actually can help you regarding that session or that topic. In general question, you can answer, you can get answer on maybe any other speaker or on Google or anywhere else.